Testing, testing.
Testing. Yeah.
Morning, TJ. Item two. Audio test 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everyone who's joining us in the board's hearing room physically. This is TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer. I don't see any members of the public. If there is any member of the public who would like to offer commentary on any of our items this morning, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room, indicate which item you'd like to speak on, and hand it to me. And I would also like to welcome our attendees joining us via the virtual platform via Zoom. I do not see any members of the public, but if there are any members of the public joining us on Zoom, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute, identify yourself and which item you'd like to speak on. I will record your information for the record. And I do see one of our Bureau reps. Good morning to our Bureau reps. I do see Pamela LeBeau's hand raised. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Hi, Pamela. Good. I can barely hear you. We have some audio issues. We have some technical issues in our boardroom. So go ahead and if you could just provide a little more audio input, I'm going to go over to my control panel, which is not near my chair, but it's right about 20 feet away from me. If you could provide more audio input, and I'm going to try and adjust the levels to see if I can raise the audio input from our Zoom attendees. Pam? I guess that's as loud as I can. We can't hear you that well, Pam, but we can hear you. So yes, the sun is shining. Hopefully it will remain, shining and will allow us to dry out a little bit and allow our streets to dry out and our crews to clear out some of the slides. How are you doing, Pam? Good. Oh, excellent. Well, welcome. So typically our Bureau reps only provide input when called upon by myself or the commissioners, or if one of our presenters from our bureaus needs a little assistance. Excellent. Today's meeting has 8 items on it, and a couple of those are communications. A couple of those are not going to be that long, so I would say 90 minutes, maybe an hour and 45 minutes today. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we can hear you, but we have to be really quiet here in the room, so I appreciate you speaking very loudly into your microphone. Thank you so much, Pam. If you're called upon, the commissioners do prefer that you show your video, but until that time, if that happens, until that happens, you do not need to have your video on. Thank you, Pam. I see Seffi Wiles, but it does not sound like Seffi. So your volume's good. I can hear you. We can hear you in the room. Hey, Roosevelt. Okay. I'm going to make one more call and thank you, Roosevelt, for checking in with me. I appreciate it. I'm going to make one more call for anyone who is joining us from the public on our Zoom platform. If you are here and you would like to offer commentary on any of our items this morning, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. Identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on, and I will record your name for the record. We should get started in approximately 10 minutes. Thank you.
they just removed the chairs.
Yeah, of course, I do that too.
This is a nice guy. It's about $1,000.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, speakerphone.
I'm not gonna say anything. I know some people, as soon as they're waiting for that, they used to announce ahead of time when they were gonna. I think people were just waiting. What the hell did we do?
So this month,
I thought to myself, God,
I wonder who's gonna run it. Oh, yeah. Some Fridays that are always off. For us, right?
today goes well for you. It's Friday.
Yeah, well, I'll be definitely done. But you're right, yeah, or that.
This chair, I can skip March. Chair.
We need to talk to what his name on the cost. I think I'm the day.
I'm gonna reach out to Lisa. Well, afterward, right now I know, but I'll reach out to Lisa ahead of time to make sure something. Down there. I think it's something we can discuss.
Mine is Wednesday. Yeah, if everything.
I'm gonna go early on my see, and I'll ask this.
I reserved the room anyway.
Tell you the truth, that company, when I started.
Yeah, you have your office, so it's good. That's what I'm meaning. You don't want
You know, I've always said that.
most of the time in the meetings, I am the building.
Going on.
Yeah, meeting room A or
General.
B, then I can call them.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm already getting frustrated with people.
So you make you become a
Chairs and they're all nice. I think they did slow it tonight. They've been having a lot of meetings.
because what they did, all the ugly ones and all that, they done.
Ask us a lot of questions about operations.
Fabric.
There's something fresh on my mind because they're insisting that we need to have LA Fire Department go out and and I told them we already completed it yesterday. They're persistent. They're gonna go out there and do it today, and then they're gonna throw off this story. They want something to look at. So get everybody out there.
Special.
You know,
Yeah.
I almost want to
Nice
tell them
view.
I don't know.
And they want 96.
Oh, they want us to get the footage.
89.
They want somebody. They want to drop it.
89 South City Hall East. So we have the wooden wood with the cushion.
Yes. Chat.
Then we moved
System 6 stories or everything.
They were there for a long time.
He was telling the OC that
We were there
wanted
for
to
a
meet him,
while.
but they're insistent that we go out.
And that's building,
Fire departments.
you know, at some time when you were renting.
I saw something. It is
But
what
so,
last
when
night.
we were there,
You want to find I heard maybe standing behind you. He got
and I tried to put them
but the other one just right down.
but I couldn't convince them. Now,
It's been yesterday and they were outside.
I don't want to speculate. Because they converted it to condominium. 15. morning. How are you? If you keep us as stay quality, and you need to match us with all the other stuff. So that's what it could be the La Crosse era. So it's not Garcetti. No. So it's Bella Croce because Bella
Good morning once again to the members of the public who are joining us here in the board's hearing room. If there's any members of the public who wish to offer commentary on any of our items this morning, please fill out a speaker card located in the table in the back of the room. Indicate which item you'd like to speak on and your name, and hand it to me and I'll record your information for the record. Good morning as well to the members of the public who are joining us via our virtual platform. And good morning also to our Bureau reps joining us via the virtual platform. And if there is anyone on the virtual platform who wishes to offer public comment or commentary on any of our items this morning, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. Identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on. And I will record your name for the record. And I do see caller on our Zoom platform ending in 264. Caller ending in 264, if you'd please unmute, identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on. I will record your name for the record. Go ahead. And you're going to have to speak clearly and as loud as you can into your device, sir. And I did hear you say public comment, but I apologize, I did not hear your name. James, excellent. All right, and again, when the presiding officer calls upon you to offer public comment, please speak as loudly and clearly into your device, into your phone as you can, because we do have a little bit of audio issues going on in our boardroom this morning. Thank you so much, James. Are there any other members of the public who wish to offer commentary on any of our items or public comment this morning, joining us via the virtual platform? If so, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. Identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on. All right, we should get started in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put us into record mode. President Garcia.
Great, thank you very much.
And we are in record mode.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, February 7th, 2024. TJ Knight?
Yes, good morning, Madam President Garcia. TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer, taking role in establishing quorum. This morning, we have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corson joining us. We do have a quorum. Commissioner Reyes is out on approved vacation. We are also joined by City Attorney Representative Thomas Costello Vega. Once again, I'm TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer. President Garcia, we have no speaker cards under public comment in the room. We do have one attendee on our virtual platform who wishes to offer public comment. We have no neighborhood council commentary and no speaker cards under any of our items this morning.
Very well, thank you for that, TJ Knight. Can we have the public comment via Zoom now?
And we have also just had someone join us via the virtual platform. So I'm going to go ahead and ask James to offer his public comment. And James, you'll have 2 minutes, and then I'll make another call for if anyone else wants to offer a public comment. Go ahead, James. Two minutes. That's 2 minutes, James. Thank you. I apologize for the feedback for the folks here in our hearing room. We're just trying to make some adjustments to our volume levels. I do see another hand raised on the virtual platform. Thomas Torres, would you like to offer public comment or commentary on any of our items this morning? I'm going to ask you to unmute. If you would identify yourself for the record and which items you'd like to speak on, Thomas.
Yes, I like to speak on item 4
Yes. Yes, excellent, Thomas. I've noted that you wish to offer commentary on item number 4. I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand at this time, and we'll call upon you when we get to item 4 on our agenda. Is there anyone else? I'd like to make one more call. Is there anyone else on our Zoom platform who wishes to offer public comment or commentary on any of our items on our agenda this morning? If so, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. Very good. I don't see any other commenters on any of our items. President Garcia.
Thank you for that, Mr. Knight. Given that we do not have any other general public comment is now officially closed. Moving on to the approval of the minutes for Wednesday, January 24, 2024. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Mr. Knight, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by, it's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to approve the minutes of Wednesday, January 24, 2024.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved.
Very well, thank you for that. Good morning, everyone, and I'm happy to be back from a vacation. Good to see everybody here and everybody that's joining us in the social platform. We are going to get started with item number 1. We have a pretty good agenda today to follow, and we'll go in chronological order. So for now, I'll start with item number 1. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and Council District 11 for a construction service contract, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, Biological Nitrogen Removal, and Membrane Bioreactors Odor Control System Capital Improvement Project CIP 8189. Authorize the city engineer to use the Cisco and to issue task work orders to the contractor for an amount not to exceed $1,771,000 for the CIP 8189 HWRP, BNR, and MBR order control system. And Mr. Wong is here this morning. Good morning, sir. Good to see you. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. This is Ethan Wong with the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Engineering Division. So the background on this project is related to the Hyperion 2035 plan, which looks to recycle up to 170 million gallons of water that comes through the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant every day and use that as potable water eventually. The current treatment process at Hyperion requires a primary treatment, where solids are largely mechanically separated from the wastewater stream, and then it enters a secondary process where there are biological reactors and settling tanks. LA Sanitation has embarked on a pilot project to test membrane bioreactors, which would be a new process at Hyperion to biologically remove nitrogen as well as other solids from the secondary treatment cycle. So this would replace the current secondary treatment with a process that integrates membranes, which act as like ultrafiltration devices, and this is then connected to the bioreactor. So as part of this overall project, because it is part of the overall secondary treatment, we do expect there could be odorous off-gases such as hydrogen sulfide, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, etc. Because this is a concern and because the facility is regulated by by the Air Quality Management District, and we need to comply with their regulations. We need to provide odor control, and to do this, we need to add covers to the bioreactor, and these would be flush-mounted aluminum plank covers for both the BNR tanks, the MBR tank, and the plant drain pump station wet well as well. These are all areas where we do expect odors could be emanated from the facility. In addition, we will be setting up fiber reinforced plastic ductwork system, structural steel supports to support that ducting, and ultimately these will connect to a mobile odor control unit that will use activated carbon to basically polish the air so that there are no odors emitted from this facility. Because this is a high priority project, and we would like to get the pilot running so that testing can be done on the secondary effluent that runs through this new MBR pilot system. We would like to get this work done by summer. We have found, due to the procurement times of various things required to get the odor control system up and running, Cisco is the most effective contract vehicle to use. So we're requesting to issue task work orders up to $1,771,000 to the Cisco contractor to proceed with this work immediately, procure long lead materials, and get the project up and running by summer. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer anything you have regarding that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wong, for your presentation this morning. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your report. Just a quick question. The methodology for this contract, our Cisco or contract services contract method, is that selected because it's the expedited manner in which we want to do the work?
Correct. Yeah, that would be the biggest concern in this case. That would be the fastest way to bring on a contractor. There are several long lead materials. Based on the board's approval today, if granted, we'd be able to start that procurement process immediately. Because we anticipated certain materials may take longer to procure or fabricate, we have already started with like some submittal design on a separate timeline and schedule through a separate project, but this is the overarching main construction project, so we would be able to actually procure materials at this time based on that.
Okay, and then from our Cisco contract, we have enough bidders to be able to do this work?
So this work specifically would go to our current Cisco 12 contract. We have an active prime contractor on site already mobilized. So
Who's that?
it's Murray Company at this time. Murray Company.
Murray, okay.
Yeah. The next Cisco contract has already been advertised and bids were received last week. So
Okay.
that's in the selection process currently.
Okay. All right, so we would be using Murray for this work for 1.7 million. That's Cisco 11?
Cisco 12, actually.
Okay. And for 1.7 million, are they, using the Cisco contract, are they not needing to do any kind of like a local hire, or are they exempt from all of those requirements that we have for our other lists?
Yeah, there is no PLA as it exists with Cisco. They typically are these small level contracts that are, or smaller dollar value contracts, I would say. But we do have BIP, anticipated pledge levels, that Murray is currently meeting on the other Cisco contracts that they've had, or historically they've met those. Because Cisco 12 is still in use, and we're still putting work out on Cisco 12. And I'll report this later today. We do have an update for Cisco. But they actively use a lot of subs for the work, and that's the same for this specific project. They will be using quite a bit of subs to facilitate this work.
Okay, I'll ask more questions later.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. There's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by VP Villegas to move item number 1 forward and forthwith. Mr. Knight.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved, and we'll move forward forthwith.
Much, Mr. Wong. Oh, you'll be here for the last one, too.
I will.
Okay. Well, hang out with us for a minute then.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 2. This is a request in Council District 15 for a task order solicitation number 23-253 for Layton Consulting, Inc., pre-qualified on-call consultants list, Wilders Addition Park Stairs Project, recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Layton Consulting, Inc. from the task order geotechnical and environmental engineering consulting service list to provide geological and geotechnical evaluation services for the Wilders Addition Park Stairs project as stated in Task Order 23-253 with a budget authority of $225,000, including contingency. And this morning, we have Mr. Smith here joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you survive the storm?
Yes, we're doing okay.
I know.
Staff's busy, but we'll be all caught up hopefully by midday today. So time I get back, we should be caught up with all the initial field investigations.
Let's thank your staff, because I was hanging out with their staff out in the EOC Center for the past 2 days. So please thank them.
What I heard. Thank you. Thank you for your support, and everybody's doing good. So as President Garcia, Patrick Schmidt, Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. As President Garcia just mentioned, this board reports for the issuance of task order number solicitation number 23253 to Layton Consulting from the pre-qualified on-call geotechnical consultant list. This board report is to provide geologic and geotechnical evaluation services for the Wilders Addition Park Stairs project. And we are seeking authorization to award the project to Layton with a budget authority of $225,000, including contingency. On July 20th, 2022, the board approved the 2022 to 2027 pre-qualified on list of consultants, which provide geotechnical and environmental services to the Department of Public Works. The contract with Layton was executed on November 2nd of 2022 and will expire on November 1st, 2027. The Wilders Addition Park Stairs are located on the south side of West Paseo del Mar in the San Pedro area, approximately 2,300 feet northwest of the Point Furman Lighthouse. The existing stairs are situated on a coastal bluff that is approximately 120 feet in height. There are several active landslides in close proximity to the stairs, including one to the northwest side of the stairs. At the request of the city's Department of Recreation and Parks, the Bureau of Engineering's Geotechnical Engineering Division performed a site reconnaissance on March 4th of 2021. Based on visual observations, the GED concluded that the existing stairs are distressed and a potential safety hazard in the current condition. We recommended that a geotechnical evaluation be completed if the Rec and Parks wanted to further pursue reconstruction of the stairs. On August 30th of 2023, Rec and Parks requested that the Geotech Division proceed with the geotechnical evaluation. The scope of work includes a review of available information, surveying, subsurface exploration, analysis, interpolation of the collected data. If the results indicate there's a potential for landslide and/or slope instability, Layton's scope of work will also include the development of a conceptual recommendations and a rough order of magnitude cost estimate for the appropriate mitigation. The TOS was issued to all 11 firms on the pre-qualified on-call list. We received proposals from 3 firms. The proposals were reviewed and scored by members of the Geotechnical Engineering Division, and Layton achieved the highest score and was selected for the task. The task is subject to BIP, Business Inclusion Program outreach requirements. The city has set anticipated participation levels of 18% for minority-owned business enterprises, 4% for women-owned business enterprises, 25% for small business enterprises, 8% for emerging business enterprise, and 3% for disabled veteran-owned business enterprises. For this task, Layton is pledging an MBE participation level of 24.03%, WBE participation of 13.18%, SBE participation of 24.03%, EBE participation of 0.68%, and a DVBE participation of 23.35%. Funding for this work in the amount of $225,000, including contingency, is available in the Recreation and Parks Maintenance Fund, Fund number 302, Department 89, Appropriation Unit 89727H. That concludes my presentation of this board report, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Very well. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Smith. Appreciate that. Any questions, colleagues? What are we building? I see stairs, but what is the project? Is it a beautification project? What is
It's
it?
consideration of whether or not the Rec and Parks will move forward with the rebuilding of the stairs.
Just the stairs?
Just the stairs.
Okay, understood. Okay, any questions, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith? Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote on item number 2, starting with you, Madam President,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved, and we'll move forward forthwith.
Thank you very much. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Enjoy your day, everyone. Bye.
Very well. Moving on to item number 3, this is a request from the Bureau of Street Lighting in all council district for a memorandum of understanding for Los Angeles County with Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transit Authority and the Bureau of Street Lighting, enhanced MTA bus stop security lighting. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the director of the Bureau of Street Lighting to negotiate and execute a memorandum of understanding with LACMA to design, specify, equipment, and contract out the construction of at least 50 energy-efficient lighting at or adjacent to LACMA bus stops. Energy-efficient lighting standard can be powered as feasible by renewable energy resources. Special emphasis will be given where lighting fixtures will add additional safety features for LACMA patrons and riders. And 2, authorize that $1,590,000 grant reimbursements from the state and LACMA can be received and deposited into the Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment Fund, and subsequently, if front-funded, then transfer back to the Public Works Trust Fund no later than 1 week after the deposit has been made. And this morning, we have Mr. Assad here. Good to see you. Welcome.
Good morning, President Garcia. Good morning, commissioners and Bureau representatives and colleagues. I'm Assad Al-Najjar with Bureau of Street Lighting. What we have today is a typical LA County MTA contract that we periodically get to fund the last mile bus stops that don't get captured within the transit lines, and to identify and to be installed in hot zones where high pedestrian traffic is. At this time, this MOU will cover a minimum 50 bus stops, which is roughly 150 units. That's going to be spread over all the 15 council districts. The location list will be submitted with the final contract that we will come back with after you adopt this request and MTA board approve it. Then we will get the final contract with the list and the funding, and we'll be coming back to you probably around June. Solar units, as mentioned, will be used as applicable. The funding, as mentioned in attachment A, is from federal section 5307, $1,272,000, and from the LA County MTA local funds, $318,000, for a total $1,590,000. Once we come back to you in June, we expect and anticipate to start the design and engineering July 1st, 2024. Hopefully, then we would advertise the project sometime in February 2025. After advertising and hopefully contract to be awarded August 2025. And we're hoping to finalize construction April 2026 and come back to you in September 2026 to accept the project. So we've done this periodically. The last one was adopted by the board back in August 2017. And that concludes my report, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Engineer, for that report that you just gave. I have one question, well, maybe two, but it sounds like a very long timeline. Is that normal? Because I think am I hearing correctly that we'll start the project in 2026?
The NTP probably will be August 2025.
Okay, and that's when we start the project then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it's very expedited, Mrs. President. I mean, 6 months to design 150 units is on a very fast track. And then we're allowing some time for the advertising and the bid and award which will take the usual. There is set times, as you know, when we come back to you.
Okay, very well. And then just to walk me through the final contract. So now you're asking for our Bureau of Street Lighting director to negotiate and execute the memorandum of understanding. This is the part that does not have any financial exchange at this time, or does it at this time?
No, the funds are secured.
Okay.
However, we need to sign it first. Then MTA board need to adopt it and sign it.
Okay.
Then we finalize the agreement that you have with the exact contract number and all that, and come back to you
And that comes out to us for.
with
So
the funds.
okay, so
And-
technically, right now, we're just allowing for the director to negotiate, set it up,
Yes.
build the scope of work, build everything, and then once it's all finalized, then that comes to us.
Yes.
Got it, understood. Okay, I'm clear now. Vice President Villegas?
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for your presentation. I have just a point of clarification. So with the total funds that we have, both from the state and from local funds, and as we are moving through this, work, it says here in the agreement that no request for reimbursements will be processed by LA County MTA for expenses incurred after the termination date of this agreement. So are we expected to be able to do this and front fund the funds and then get reimbursed?
Yes, that's what we're negotiating. And typically with the MTA on many opportunities, they do front fund 100%. This is a small number, and I think we can ask for at least all of it, if not half of it.
Okay, and then BSL currently has an outstanding, I guess, authorization from our Public Works Trust Fund. Is that the fund that you're going to be tapping into to be able to access front funding?
At this time, yes,
Okay.
but the final determination will be in the board report that we come back with in
Got it.
June.
Okay,
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Any other questions? So you won't start that, the process for the Public Works Trust Fund until after the contract has been signed?
And yeah, exactly, when we come back to you in June, exactly.
Okay, understood. Okay, any other questions, any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Corson. TJ Knight, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 3 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote on item number 3, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Assad. Good to see you. Moving on to item number 4, this is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration in Council Districts 1, 4, 5, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15. This is a contract award to Geronimo Concrete, Inc., Sidewalk Repair Program, package number 64. And we have one caller on the line. We'll take that now.
That is correct, Madam President. Thank you. Mr. Torres, Mr. Thomas Torres, if you would please, I'm going to ask you to unmute. I would also like to inform the commissioners that I believe Mr. Torres submitted a public comment via our Google form, which I have distributed both to the bureaus and to the commissioners this morning. Go ahead, Mr. Torres.
Good morning. My name is Tomas Torres. I am the president of the Pacific Atlantic Home, local small business. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about the Bureau of Contract Administration recommendation related to local business program. Previously, because under the local business preference program, Access Pacific should be awarded the contract. I hope to convince you that it would be in the city's best interest to maintain the integrity of the program and award this project to Access Pacific. The project was bid on August 2nd, 2023, and until last week, 6 months, we would be awarded the project under the local business preference. I would like to make one clarification on the zoning portion of the agreement under the Veteran Bid Bond extension. We were asked to provide 3 separate bid bond extensions. The first expired on December 1st, 2023, the second expired January 5th, to expire Friday for their amount. We did so willingly, under the assumption we recommend for award. In extending our bonds and certify the limited bond capacity for the structure, we have another good opportunity to certify these residents and begin faster and open months notice to the project. We will say decision will cause us to spend money. We've invested a great deal in our relationship with the city of Los Angeles. One of our greatest investments has been the learning opportunities we have gained from the city of the learning capacity to be very moving to the process. We know how it feels to look at opportunities we prepare for this one. We research the process and the opportunity. It is ironic that we learn ourselves in this position today. We would want for our LBP after learning our lessons by this opportunity. The LBP program is not a fitting or a secure program, nor is it difficult to become certified. It is clearly stated in this document that anyone who lives in good or attending with mentor English meeting is informed of this program. Our competitor has worked on numerous concepts issued by the board for our work, as is stated on the report. They have had every opportunity to use the LBP application and participate in the LBP program prior to this. In the years since we became LBP certified, this would be the very first time we would have been awarded a contract under the LBP program. Sadly, I can say that I have never received the benefit of the city waiving this requirement, which is now being recommended to my competitors. While the recommendation is to waive the LBP program and award Geronimo, it is doing so solely in the recognition of Geronimo's post-bid LBP certification. Geronimo was not even certified until November 22nd, 2023. This is 3.5 months after the bid opening and after the original bid launch, but 90 days expired. I'm concerned for the LBP program and undermining the program's foundational intent. Will the city recognize and waive the LBP program every time a contractor gets their LBP certification post-bid? Could another contractor simply move their office or change address to become LBE certified after the bid? Is it the city's new unwritten instructions to bidders that they may apply for certification after the bid? What is the purpose of instructing bidders to submit their LBE status at time of bid? Will the city waive this requirement on future bids? I understand, as the joint report states, the awarding authority has the right to determine at any time before the award of a contract that it is not in the city's best interest to grant a bid reduction to a qualifying LBE. BCA fails to address how it is in the city's best interest to bypass the LBP program. The discretionary power to determine the city's best interest should reflect a commitment to upholding the program's integrity, fostering a competitive yet fair bidding environment, ensuring that the LBP program continues to serve as a beacon of opportunity for local businesses. There are broader implications on your decision today. It not only affects the parties here today, but it will send a clear message about the city's stance on fairness, transparency, and the support of its local business community. A decision in support of maintaining the integrity of the LBP program will reaffirm the city's dedication to a transparent, equitable, and inclusive bidding process. In closing, I urge you to consider the lasting impact of your decision. The precedent you set today concerning post-bid certification opens a door that cannot easily be closed, inviting future contractors to seek loopholes rather than compliance. Let us instead champion a course that upholds our shared values of fairness, integrity, and commitment to the growth and prosperity of Los Angeles. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration and for the opportunity to speak to you in advocacy of a decision that honors the spirit of our collective endeavor to support and nurture a vibrant, equitable business community.
Okay, sir, thank you for your comment this morning. You were not subject to the 2-minute timeline because you are an interested party, so we were able to hear everything out today. We will, if you don't mind just staying on the line for a minute, we will probably ask you some questions, so if you can just hang on while we have our representative doing the presentation at this time. Thank you for that, and was that the last of the comments? Okay.
Yes.
Definitely. So public comment for item number 4 is now closed. However, due to Access Pacific being an interest party, you are still on the line to provide any questions or answers, to give us any answers to any questions that we have. So with that, Ms. Kim, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Yuben Kim. I'm one of the civil engineers of the Bureau of Engineering's Sidewalk Repair Program. The Bureau is requesting authority to award Sidewalk Repair Program Package Number 64 to Geronimo Concrete, the apparent first low bidder, to be the lowest responsible bidder for the contract amount of $2,259,333 and related recommendations. The background for this project is that it is being delivered by the Sidewalk Repair Program, which was initiated by Council File Number 14-0163-S4 and adopted on February 3rd, 2015. The SRP's Access Request Subprogram makes repairs requested by people with a mobility disability who encounter physical barriers such as sidewalks, missing or broken curb ramps, and other barriers in the City of Los Angeles' public right-of-way. The delivery method for this project is design, bid, build. The city designed the plans and bid the plans out for construction. This project will provide sidewalk repairs and accessibility upgrades at 23 access request sites. The contract duration is 200 calendar days. The funding for the project comes from the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Program Special Fund for Sidewalk Repair and Contractual Services. And on August 2nd, 2023, 4 bids were received, and Geronimo Concrete is deemed the lowest responsible bidder. This concludes my report. Do you have any questions?
Thank you for that, Ms. Kim. Yes, I believe we do have questions. I'll start with Dr. Davis.
What is the estimate revenues for this project? What are the revenues that reflect the cost of this project?
Do you mean the construction cost of the project?
Correct.
We initially estimated that it would be 2.2 million. This contract that would go to Geronimo will be $2,225,333.
Is this item number 5?
This is item number
4, okay. In terms of this Geronimo Concrete Incorporated, it's the lowest responsible bidder. There were other bidders on the project, correct?
Yes, there were 2 other bidders.
Could you tell me about the other 2 bidders in terms of how they ranked as far as being responsible bidders?
Of course. And my mistake, there were 3 other bidders. There was Access Pacific, who came in at 2.4 million, Axiom Group, 2.48 million, and PPC Construction at $3 million.
Okay. And in terms of lowest responsible bidder, I understood that there was one of the vendors who competed who felt that they were the lowest bidder. Is that correct?
Yes, we do have a local business preference program, of which Bureau of Contract Administration recommended that we do not apply that for this contract. If the commissioners would like, I can ask Mark Gutierrez from BCA to elaborate further on the recommendation if you would prefer.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Gutierrez, Bureau of Contract Administration, OCC. Going to read the relevant portion of the report that the caller spoke on and what you're asking, Commissioner.
Sure.
For this project, BCA verified that both the first low bidder Geronimo and the second low bidder Access are certified LBEs. However, at the time bids were received, apparent first low bidder Geronimo was neither a certified LBE nor had they submitted an LBE application. Therefore, Access, as the second low, became first low for bid evaluation purposes after the local business preference was applied. Subsequently, Geronimo submitted an LBE application and their application was approved. Therefore, staff recommends that it is in the city's best interest to not apply the LBP program and award the contract to Geronimo, a certified LBE that was not eligible for the LBP program at the time of bid submission.
How does that relate to access if in fact at some point in time in the process of evaluation, they were the lowest bid?
Right, so the rule with the LBP program is a bidder either needs to be certified at the time of bid or have submitted an application by the time of bid. As background though, to kind of speak to some of the points Access, Second Low brought up, Geronimo First Low did submit applications prior to the bid date that were rejected. Our staff researched as to the reason why. We had to go all the way to city ITA. And it was determined that because First Low Geronimo had multiple accounts on RAMP, the city's online system, they were rejected. That's one of our rules. If you have multiple accounts, you can't, it's an auto rejection. But that's not to say at that time if any of their applications would have been approved or not. This came up because when we were doing our bid review, Geronimo First Low had an LA address, so that was kind of a flag. Why are they LA located but not LB certified? And that was what moved us to kind of research in terms of their past applications. But also what was brought up is it's not mentioned in this report why it would be in the city's best interest to waive the program. It would be in the sense that both First Low and Second Low are LBEs. The bid difference is $143,456.47. In this current city environment, that's a big savings, obviously. So it would be, in my opinion, in the city's best interest to waive because it would be a cost savings to the city. And then the rule with waiving in general for the program is, say, a Second Low comes in as a higher bid than a First Low, but the city doesn't have funding to award to the Second Low LBE. That could be a reason as well to waive the program, and that there's just not funding available, and it would therefore be in the city's best interest to waive because we don't have the money to award the project to a higher bidder.
The Geronimo company at one point in time had multiple applications in. We did not know which of those multiple applications were valid at one point in time, correct?
Right,
So-
they were not processed because there were multiple
Yeah,
submissions.
they were multiples, and so we couldn't figure out which of those multiples presenting were the more valid of the 3, 4, 5, or 2 or 3, whatever the numbers of the multiplicity of applications.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, I believe they had submitted just one application,
Yes.
but they had multiple RAMP accounts. So
They had multiple what?
RAMP accounts, so
Oh, I
online,
see.
they had multiple profiles. And
But
so,
did you go to is the rule that we go to the latest file that they have? Usually in most systems, the latest application you would have filed would have been the more valid one that we would hold because that's when you last filed. Is that not the case in terms of how we evaluate our program?
well, I think it's two separate things. So they likely submitted one application with all the info there. But on RAMP, they could have had multiple accounts with, say, differing addresses, different tax IDs.
But what about the date in which those multiple applications were received? It would appear to me that RAMP would document time and date in which applications were received. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's the case.
So then, what was the latest
So
application received, even though there were multiple ones?
the latest received was,
And what did it say?
the latest application submitted was October 25 of last year, and it was approved in November of the same year. So about a month turnaround.
So then, does that mean that Geronimo was within compliance of what we require or not?
Yeah, Geronimo is, in fact, a certified LBE.
Okay, they were a certified LB. However, we felt that the latest application was not valid.
No, their latest application did get them certified. Their previous applications were never processed due to them having multiple RAMP accounts.
But why isn't the last documented submission valid?
That was processed by our certification unit. In order for them to have processed, I would imagine Geronimo ironed out their multiple ramp accounts, consolidating it into just a single account, in which case our CERT unit was then able
I
to
don't
move forward.
understand why in this system, the last application that a person applied for is not valid.
The last one was valid. The last application was valid.
Well, if it was valid, why do we go to the fact that they had prior applications if in fact the system is evaluating the last one that you applied with?
Maybe I can clarify, and Mark and Dr. Davis, you guys can correct me on this, but my understanding is that they did an official application for local preference, right? But BCA did not approve it because they had multiple accounts, which is different, two different things. The certification process is one thing and accounts is another one, right?
That's correct.
Now, accounts, Mike, so basically they submitted the correct certification. BCA did not approve it because they had multiple accounts. So basically they, on the ramp system that has nothing to do with the certification, they submitted their information multiple times.
And so, for example, in those accounts, was there some documentation said that they were from another city other than LA?
That I don't know.
Is that what the issue is? What is the issue?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
it
that
relates
is a good
to-
question.
What is the issue as it relates to the uncertainty with the multiple accounts?
Yeah, my opinion is that it's to prevent fraud. When a bid is submitted to the city, we want to know exactly who it's coming from and whether it's an Inc., a corp, a company, an LLC. You know, that could be 4 different companies. We only accept bids.
Was there conflicting data on these various accounts?
No, there was not. It's possible that what I've seen is that multiple personnel from a company could register their company without communicating to
But
others.
was the data the same?
As far as I remember, all data was an
Why?
LA address as it pertains to being.
I don't understand why we have this issue based upon what I'm hearing from you about both the accounts and this application.
Perhaps let me just offer this. Can we hold this item for 1 week so that Dr. Davis can be briefed on this and we can kind of square it away?
That's brief, but not in detail.
Oh, no, it's okay, yeah. Would that cause an interruption in the process on providing the service? And that's probably Ms. Kim, you might want to answer that. Would that be an issue if we hold it for 1 week while we kind of sort it out specifically so that Dr. Davis can get a little bit more clarification? Not at all? Okay. Are we okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Commissioners, are you guys okay with holding this item? Got it. And if anybody needs briefing, Ms. Kim, perhaps, and Mark, maybe you're gonna reach out to all of us to make sure that we get it. I'm clear on what we're doing, and I think Dr. Davis has a good point. We want to understand why the LB, and I have it here, was waived, and I think that's what we're trying to get at. My only non-clear part here is the ramp account in relation to being certified. That's where I want to be clear, because I don't feel clear on that yet.
Can I attempt to?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, there's multiple issues here. We're recommending to waive the program because, again, the rule is a bidder must either have submitted an application
Which they did.
by the bid dates or be certified.
Got it.
Their past applications were rejected, so technically they did not have a pending application. They submitted it after and subsequently got approved. I wanted to give background on why they were rejected, and it was just a technicality. They were previously rejected because they had multiple ramp accounts. That's one of the rules that certification has. They'll only certify if a company only has one ramp account, and that's because they don't want to keep a backlog and go through the entire process when certain flags are not met. And so in terms of it being in the city's best interest to waive, the reason for that is the fact of the matter, both companies are LB certified. And so that's why the recommendation is to just award to the lowest bidder, who is also an LBE, and that would save the city $143,000.
Is that an internal policy that we have with BCA, that if folks have multiple accounts? But I imagine it's very easy to open an account at RAMP, so I imagine folks do it under different business name and, different codes, NCIS code. NCAS codes.
Yes.
So is that something common that happens?
Very common, yes.
So are we now going to, every time we are going to deny a certification process, will we now go through the exercise of making sure that we can clean up the ramp accounts?
Yeah, there's certainly a process underway now with CPO and us and working together to eliminate all those duplicate accounts.
Okay, that's good. That's good moving forward for us, so that we can get more organizations or more small businesses certified, and not have this, because technically Geronimo got caught up in this situation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the whole issue about validity is in question here, and I would like to have an opportunity to further explain how it was valid, or in many cases in your description, you're saying it was not at the time and that they had to apply again. So I'd like to do a further examination.
Okay. Very well. 1 week is, go ahead, TJ Knight, sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt the commissioners, but I do see that Mr. Torres, who provided input earlier, has raised his hand at this time. At your discretion, if you would like, I can ask him to unmute. And
Sure. By the way, is Geronimo here too as well, Mark or Ms. Kim?
I do see Geronimo Concrete listed, and they have now just raised their hand, so they are also attending.
Okay.
Via the virtual.
Let's take a minute. Hopefully, can they speak loud? Because we're trying to hear everybody. And if not, Mark or Debbie, can you help us, please? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Torres?
Hi, yes. As I stated in my presentation earlier, as I understood this process, it's important that the bidders be certified, and I'm hearing this for the first time, or at least have the application submitted by the time of bid. I understand there may be technical issues that may have occurred with the ramp system, but that's a very common situation with us as bidders, and that there's often clerical issues which are very rarely forgiven in these competitive bidding environments. My concern here is, like I stated, is that the integrity of the LVP program is at stake here, because by allowing this decision to go through, you're basically allowing anybody to submit a LBE application after the bid if they find themselves at a loss in a second place position because of an LVP program. Now, I understand that the city is saying that it's in the best interest because you're going to save money, but that is the whole point of the LVP preference program, is to provide a bid advantage. So it really defies the logical foundation of which the LVP program is based upon. I don't agree with the position that after 90 days, not until November was Geronimo actually certified. And we basically, the city asked me to postpone my bid bond 3 separate times. And now it appears that I was doing so only so that Geronimo can get certified. They could have done it earlier, they could have done it sooner. And, now I'm at a position where I waited 6 months for this project with the understanding that we were going to be getting this project. I think that there's some serious missteps that could be taken here, and you're opening the door for all future contractors to undermine the integrity of the LVP program.
Thank you so much, Mr. Torres, for your comment there. TJ Knight, do we have any other comments?
But yes, I see Geronimo Concrete has raised their hand.
Okay, we'll take Geronimo Concrete. And Geronimo Concrete, you're not subject to the 2 minute. You are an interest party. So when you're ready, we're ready.
I apologize for interrupting you. Could you please start again, Geronimo?
And if you can speak a little loud.
Do you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is John. I'm representing for Geronimo Lopez for Geronimo Concrete Incorporated. I just want to state that I did say that for the lowest bidder was to, the options was to submit the bid or the LTV. So we have submitted the bid and we just rose our hand just to represent that we are here and we acknowledging what everybody is saying.
Okay, thank you for that. We are going to hold this item for 1 week. We will hear this item again next Wednesday, February 14th. And this is just to, nothing's changing of the recommendations or nothing's changing. We just want to give a chance for Dr. Davis and any other commissioner, including myself, to get more clarification on just kind of how we got to this, how we got here today. Other than that, there's not going to be no new information introduced. It's just really going back through what the process was like. And so I encourage Ms. Kim and Mr. Gutierrez to reach out to us to further provide and more examination of what happened. Okay? Other than that, Mr. Knight, can we schedule this for next Wednesday?
Yes, we will. The motion on the floor is to continue the item to February 14th, 2024. If you'd like, we could take a roll call vote on that.
Yes.
Okay, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
Okay, that is approved, and the item is continued to February 14th.
Very well. Thank you so much. See you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thank you to Access and to Gerano Concrete. We will retake this item next Wednesday. Thank you for your time this morning. Moving on to item number 5, this is a administrative item. Specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids in council districts 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 for sidewalk repair program package number 67, access request sites, work order E1909080, estimate amount of $1,798,963, bid receipt date Wednesday, March 13, 2024. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 5 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We'll take a roll call vote on item number 5, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 5 is approved forthwith. I would like to note, now that we've moved on from item 5, that Mr. Torres is continuing to raise his hand. I don't know if you want to allow him to provide input at this time. We've already continued the item.
Well,
It's your discretion.
Yeah, we closed public comment and our representatives for item have left the building. So if he can hold his comment for next week, or he can submit to us, he can submit to you what he wants to say, and then you make sure that we all get it.
Very good.
Including Dr. Davis, of course.
Very good. Thank you, President Garcia. So, Mr. Torres, I would just like to let you know my email address. Again, I'm the Acting Executive Officer for the Board of Public Works. My name is TJ Knight. My email address is tj.knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, @lacity.org. If you please email me your concern, I can distribute it to the commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And moving on to item number 6, this is a stop notice for Ace Fence Company. Ace Fence Company is transmitting a stop notice in the amount of $11,693.35 for architectural fence, gates, and chain link fence for OHL USA Inc. in connection with the Argo Drain Sub-Basin Facility Project. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Mr. Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 6 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote on item number 6, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
All ayes, and the item is approved.
All right, moving on to our oral report section. Today we are hearing the community level contract update from all bureaus, and we will go as follow. Bureau of Engineering, Bureau of Sanitation, Bureau of Street Services, and ending with Bureau of Street Lighting.
President Garcia, I would just like to let you know that Bureau of Engineering has nothing to report, so they didn't send a representative to today's CLC update.
Got it, and neither does BCA, right?
They did not respond, so I see that the BCA team has left the room. I'll reach out to them and confirm, but I'm assuming they have nothing to report.
Very well, thank you so much. So BOE has nothing to report. Moving on to Bureau of Sanitation. Ms. Lanton, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Nancy Lanton from LA Sanitation and Environment. For this quarterly report for LA Sanitation's community level contracting, we do like to report that we currently have one opportunity. This is the request for qualifications for the landscaping and site services for LA San facilities. That was released. We are recommending to move forward with 4 prime contractors for this contract. As part of community level contracting, we did break up this contract into work packages of $50,000 and less and over $50,000. We are currently finalizing this board report for funding and do anticipate going to your board for recommendation of award for these 4 prime contractors within the next few months. As far as our opportunities upcoming, we are continuing to evaluate our current pending RFPs and RFQs to determine if we can break them up similarly to landscaping. And we do continually meet with our project managers, our division management staff, and we do utilize the assistance of Bureau of Contract Administration, who has provided us with resources such as the CLC checklist to determine potential initiatives. When we do recommend release of an RFP or an RFQ to your board, we do include a discussion of CLC and the efforts that we utilize to see if we can break those down into small work packages. So we are continuing to look into opportunities. One opportunity that we have is maybe breaking down contracts by geographical regions, and we do work with Bureau of Contract Administration to see how many potential companies would fall into those categories. That concludes my report for this quarter. I will be happy to answer questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lanton. Any questions for the Bureau of Sanitation? Hearing none, thank you very much. Have a good rest of the day. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to street services.
Thank you.
Good morning, Martha Inez, representing the Bureau of Street Services. The first contract listed on the CLC report is for the freeway off-ramp closure services with Sterndal Enterprises. Their contract currently expires in August, and we are currently drafting a new RFP. The next 4 contracts listed are for the maintenance of landscape median islands. Those services were originally split from 2 work packages to 4 work packages in October of 2020. On October 4th, 2023, the board authorized all 4 contracts be extended for 3 months to January 6, 2024. And then on January 5th, change orders were issued to extend the terms further and to increase the ceiling amounts to allow us sufficient time to execute the new contracts. On the next page, you can see that the 2 of those contracts have now been executed. One is with Green Garden, which is for the Bay Harbor area. It was executed on January 17th. And the other is for Far East Landscape for the West Valley area. It was executed on January 29th. There are 2 pending contracts which are also awarded to Far East Landscape, covering the North Central and East Valley areas. We hope to bring these 2 contracts to full execution very soon. Finally, on the last page is our pre-qualified on-call list of contractors for sidewalk and park vending outreach and education. In December of last year, contracts were executed with all 5 contractors. TOSs have not been issued yet. I would like to point out, though, that on the report, Inclusive Action for the City is a nonprofit organization, although it's not indicated on the report. We continue to assist our project managers to review their projects for potential of expanding CLC opportunities and are working with BCA to analyze any future projects and services. That concludes my report. I can answer your questions if you have any.
Thank you, Ms. Iniguez, for your report. I just want to comment and give you a comment that I really like the way that you broke down the report and also the opportunities that you guys are looking for these smaller community contracts. I see it. I really like, that was very creative, the freeway off-ramp closure services. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Any questions, Vice President Villegas?
Thank you, and I just wanted a clarification. On the last page of your report for the pre-qualified on-call consultants for the sidewalk and park vending outreach and education program, these were the names of the contracts. Were those already issued?
Yes, they were the contracts were executed. We have not issued TOSs yet. This is
Okay.
on-call contracts.
Okay, and so then, do we have funding for these, all of them?
The funding was reduced down to 50,000 for this fiscal year.
Okay, so we've had that funding, though, for many years now. Why did we wait so long? At least 2 years before the Garcetti administration ended.
Yes, it was prior to me arriving. There
you
was
have
some
someone
issues with the contracts, with who should process the board report to award the contracts. But it was finally resolved last year. And we issued the board report and got those contracts executed as quickly as possible.
Okay, so the programs that they're going to be executed, on here, it looks like we have a lot. But in reality, we have $50,000 to divide now by 5 contractors. Is that correct?
By 5 contractors, yeah.
Okay, so they will not execute what they fully put in their scope of work because they can't do the projects that they said they were going to do, or the outreach because there isn't enough funding.
Yeah. Well,
And have they been notified?
I'm sorry?
And have these potential organizations been notified?
Notified of the reduced amount?
Correct.
I do not know if the lead has notified them specifically, but they are in touch with the lead. So I'm assuming that they have been made aware of the reduced amount.
Okay. If you could possibly,
Confirm?
no, tell your staff to brief me on this item.
I most
Yeah,
definitely will.
fully brief on this item. Thank you.
Yes. Yep.
With dates also, when
With
we
dates.
received the funding.
Okay.
I remember working on this, so it's very near and dear to me, and I'm just disappointed. I've known about the reduction in funds for this work, but I thought that the work, because these were issued some time ago, I remember seeing their proposals. It's just, I can't believe that that now it was not executed. So that's what I'd like, just a briefing on that for me, please, thank you.
I'm going to
And this
request
comes on the
the
heels of so many issues with vending. We had a public comment before we even started in Pacoima on public vending. So it just doesn't help that we're at the place because we didn't get everything in line, and now the folks that we have to move forward can't implement the job. Those are all my comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm going to ask to be part of that briefing as well, just because I want to also understand with the small amount of money that we have now, what are we going to do with that? What are our priorities for that? So can you also include, and if any other commissioner, of course, wants a briefing, they can request one, but I want to be part of that because I want to just hear what is our intention moving forward.
Absolutely. I'll
Okay.
include you both.
I have one more recommendation. You know, your report on here says the total value of work packages. That's not correct. It says $350 for each.
Well, you're
In your last page.
On the last
So-
page, yeah.
on the last page.
For the vending, I'm just, you know, what's on the report here, you know, online, and and what is really happening isn't reconciled. And so for public edification, I would want the report to reflect what's really going on.
So there potentially originally
Yeah, it shows 350 on here.
the work packages could be up
Ceiling, yeah.
a total for the fiscal year would be up to 350.
Okay.
Okay, but it's not that each work package would be 350.
No, I understand. Well, thank you for that clarification. But it is, this isn't shown, this isn't accurate.
Okay.
Because as a reader, I would be led, and this is more meticulous, so we don't need to spend too much time on this. But as a reader, I would say that each of these, some of these are NGOs, some of them are private companies, that each of them were to receive $350,000. So what's on the public would go and see this on, our board report, and what's shown on here isn't reflected correctly. It's a ceiling of 350,000.
Yes.
Mind you, there's all kinds of other issues that they're not even going to get to, and perhaps in the budget years to come, it will be a ceiling of 350 that will indeed be fulfilled. But what we have on here isn't accurate. That's what I'm saying.
I understand fully now.
Okay, thank
I
you.
will make sure that's corrected.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we hope we can restore some funding into it, that can get us to the 350 ceiling, but I understand both sides. Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Lewis?
No, that's it.
Thank you very
for
much.
your
We
time.
appreciate your time this morning.
All right.
Have a good day. All right, and last BSL, Mr. Assad.
Good morning, Asad Al-Najjar for Bureau of Street Lighting. I'm reporting here on the community level contracting for the second quarter of the fiscal year 23-24, covering the period October 1st, 23 through December 31, 2023. At this time, we have two projects that are being constructed by Servitec Electric, Inc. for the total amount of $138,750. The first project is the Vision Zero Bus Stop Security Lighting Segment 1 for 12 new security lights that is in 6 bus stops with the total amount $68,530. The second project is Vision Zero Bus Stop Security Lighting 1 Segment 2, which is 28 new street lighting security lights covering 13 bus stops with the total amount of $70,220. Initially, for Segment 1, all contractors declined the project until we reached Servitec, who accepted the job. When we came back to Segment 2, given Servitec has Segment 1, we placed them at the bottom of the list. However, all contractors again declined until we reached the bottom, and it was awarded to Servitec, who accepted the job. At this time, it's under construction. Segment 1, it's 70% completed. Segment 2 is 85% completed. And we anticipate both segments to be completed by March 15, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Assad. Any questions for Bureau of Street Lighting? Hearing none. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Good seeing you too. All right, that is the last of our oral reports for the community level contracting. I don't see any more here. Thank you, everyone. And going to our last item, which is construction service contract update by the Bureau of Engineering, Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong?
Good morning, once again. This is Ethan Wong with the Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. Here to present the Cisco contract, which are also known as our construction services contract updates. So just a little background on Cisco. There have been 12 contracts awarded through the history of the Cisco program. These contracts are primarily used for wastewater or stormwater related urgent necessity projects. Each of these contracts are awarded with a contract ceiling where multiple projects are identified by LA Sanitation in conjunction with the Bureau of Engineering, and projects that are valued over $150,000 are subject to be presented at the Board of Public Works and approved by the board commissioners before those projects are moved forward on. There are several projects that are below that $150,000 limit that the city engineer has authority to move forward on. So I'll be reporting on both of those types of projects in these reports. Currently, there are 3 active Cisco contracts: Cisco 10, Cisco 11, and Cisco 12. Cisco 10 being the oldest contract. It was awarded on March 21st, 2018. Notice to proceed was issued, on April 11, 2018. The original contract duration was supposed to be 3 years. However, there is a part of the contract or allows the city to extend the contract with the contractor under mutual agreement if projects extend. And due to various construction issues, including impacts from the COVID-19 pandemic, there is one project that remains under construction at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. This is the cryogenic facility, cold box 1 and 3 improvements. I'm happy to note this project is almost complete, so by the time we do a next update, this contract should be fully closed. To date, there have been 19 projects valued over the $150,000 mark for a total of just over $15.7 million. With projects below that $150,000 limit, there have been 1.1 issued under the Cisco 10 contract. This totals $16,875,789. The current contract ceiling for this contract is $17,124,262. This means there's a balance of $248,473. Our intention is to close out the contract once that cryogenic facility is completed, but because there is some balance, there may be some smaller project issued if an urgent necessity comes up related to the Cisco contracts. Moving on to the Cisco, these contracts are also subject to the Business Inclusion Program. So I do want to read into the record the current utilization of minority business enterprises, women business enterprises, small business enterprises, emerging business enterprises, and disabled veteran business enterprises. This contract was issued with anticipated levels for MBEs at 6%. The actual utilization has been 16.3%, so 10.3% above the anticipated level. For women business enterprises, the anticipated utilization was 2%. Actual utilization was 5.1%. Small business enterprises, anticipated level was 20%. The actual level is 23.5%. For emerging business enterprises, the anticipated level was 1%. Actual utilization has been 10.9%. And for disabled veteran business enterprises, the anticipated level was 2% and is 0.3%. As you can see, all of the city's BIP categories for subcontractor utilizations have been exceeded except for the disabled veteran business enterprises. This is due to the limited subs that qualify for that designation. There was one business that the prime contractor was using that has since gone out of business, so that explains the deviation there. For Cisco 11, this project or contract was issued or awarded in August of 2019. Notice to proceed was issued in September of 2019. The current contract ceiling is $15 million. As of today, $14,845,353 have been issued to the contractor for Cisco. The BIP levels for this contract, starting with minority business enterprises, was anticipated at 8%. Actual utilization has been 12.7%. For women business enterprises, the anticipated level was 2%. The actual utilization is 2.7%. For small business enterprises, the anticipated level was 15%. Actual utilization is 29.5%. For emerging business enterprises, 1% was anticipated and 13.4% was actually utilized to date. And then again, with the disabled veteran enterprises, the anticipated value was 1%, and on this contract, again, the actual utilization falls a little short at 0.3%. Moving on to the final contract, which is the most recent contract and is the active contract where we are continuing to issue projects under, is Cisco 12. This contract actually was issued with a $15 million ceiling. We required a $10 million increase to the contract limit that was approved by the board. And so with that $25 million limit, we have currently issued $15,797,530 million worth of work on this Cisco 12 contract, leaving a balance of just over $9.2 million. The BIP utilization on this project, starting with minority business enterprises, is currently 3.2% with an anticipated level of 8%. So we're a little short, but because of the remaining balance in the contract, we do believe that the current prime contractor will meet these levels by the end of the contract. For women business enterprises, the anticipated level was 2%. The actual utilization is 3.5% now. Small business enterprises is anticipated to be 20%. We're currently at 17.5%. For emerging business enterprises, the anticipated level is 8%. We're currently at 2%. And for disabled veteran business enterprises, the anticipated level is 3%. We're currently at 2.7%. And we continue to issue projects under the Cisco 12. There is a follow-up or a new Cisco 13 contract that was advertised, and the board received bids on that contract last week, so we are yet to award that one. This concludes the updates for today. If there's any questions about this, I'd be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. I really do appreciate how you've kept this very in line. We have almost done with 10, quite almost done with 11. I think we just have one more project on 10, and you'll be able to scratch
Correct.
that off.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Just wanted to give you that comment. Thank you. Any questions? Vice President Villegas?
Yes, thank you, and thank you for your thorough report. I just want the record to reflect that BOE is giving us this report on these contracts for Cisco 10, 11, and 12. And this is each one with Murray Company, one Cisco 10 for a little, it's current work at 6.8 million. Cisco 11, also with the Murray Company, they're at 14.8 million of work. And then Cisco 12 with Murray Company as well, with 15.7 million for work. And so we will go into a Cisco 13, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And seeing that we have Murray Company since 2018, completing Cisco 10, 11, and 12, and that is in the millions of funding that they're able to get. I do want to say that I really like that Murray Company is exceeding in some occasions the minority business, women business, small business, emerging business, and disabled veterans when the opportunity is possible. But I'm just curious if we are going to be issuing Cisco 13, how that's coming about, and if you could talk to it a little bit more and seeing if we can either diversify or how that would work, seeing that Murray Company has tremendous experience with our water reclamation plants.
Yeah, great question, Vice President Villegas. Yeah, so one of the things I didn't cover was how the Cisco contracts are awarded. So like all of our construction contracts, we do issue this to all bidders, prospective bidders that have the applicable licenses to do this type of work. Because these contracts are issued only with a ceiling, and we can't predict which projects LA Sanitation will assign to Cisco, the contracts are issued with a ceiling, and the prospective bidders bid on overhead and profit percentages, which are then put in a formula that we call the direct residual value. And then the prospective bidders are ranked based on the best value given to the city. So based on those overhead and profit percentages, when it computes into a formula, it works a little bit backwards from, you wouldn't say it's the low bid, but it becomes the highest bid. So the reason why it's the highest bid is because when you take out all the market markup, what is the highest value of direct work the city can get by awarding to that specific contractor? That's why that contractor is thus given the bid. So for these last contracts, Murray has successfully bid on all of these projects. And so this remains an open bid process. So we can't say for certain who's going to bid on or who bid on the Cisco 13 contract. It's open to all prospective bidders with the applicable licenses.
Okay, that's fair. I appreciate that. And then the direct residual value, your formula, is that a formula that is best management practice?
So typically, like, the overhead is put on like subs work, maybe equipment that's permanent on site. One of the greatest values of the Cisco contract is that you have a prime contractor mobilized at each of the 4 water reclamation plants that the city owns and operates. So they're there to attend to problems immediately that arise. It also facilitates for these urgent projects that can be small values sometimes. We can award the work expeditiously. If it's below the $150,000 limit, within days, we can initiate work. And this is necessary to keep our facilities running as they continue to age. Sure. and different infrastructure. Obviously, these are huge plants with a lot of different mechanical, plumbing type equipment. Murray Company is typically a plumbing contractor. So they help facilitate all of this necessary work, even if it's small dollar value to the few $1 million range. But we do try to limit these Cisco projects to just a few $1 million. And any projects above that, we do bid to with our normal procedure to all prospective bidders.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for that, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Mr. Wong, and have a good rest of the day.
You too, thank you.
Mr. Knight, have we cleared today's desk?
Yes, we have.
Great. Colleagues, it is now 11:38 and this meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.